Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 8, Episode 43, DJI Neo 2 release this week. Hope everyone is doing well. You can see I am joined tonight by, we have the cream of the crop. We spare no expense here at Rotor Talk Live, okay? We have Johnny Drone Flyer here, direct from the great state of Louisiana, and then we have Captain Ray Kelly. And Captain Ray Kelly and Johnny, you're so glad for you guys to be here tonight. Thank you both for stopping by.
Yeah.
Thank you for the invite, Bill. Appreciate it.
Always fun to be on.
Our good friend Mr. Ron Brown had a doctor's appointment in Philadelphia, and it was a long drive for him today. So he may catch us on the flip side here, but just want to let you guys know that. Also, I did find out what the FCC voted on today. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the Neo 2. We're also going to talk about the Mini 5 Pro. We got a whole house full here today. I mean, it's just wall to wall here. Warren is here. Steve Janess, RP guy. Bud is here. FJ 1100. Let's see here. Droney Oki is here. Drone Stars is here. Waypoint New England. Let's see who else. Zach is here. RJ Redding. I know I saw Art is here. Drone Stars is here. Let's see who else. John Flynn is here. Michael Wright is here. Casey Crime Fighter. Richard is here. Gator Drone is here. My gosh, you guys are really
great crowd. Great crowd in the house.
Got a great crowd tonight. So what I'd like to do is to start things off with here is I wanted to go ahead and let's see here. Okay. Something's going to happen here when you start to see some significant discounts on some items, and the Pocket 3 is getting a huge discount. I mean, it's just absolutely, was $799, now it's $543, $256. I mean, that's a 32% discount. That's huge.
Big discount.
So when they're doing something like that, a new one's on the horizon. I mean, it can't be far behind. I mean, we haven't actually seen anything yet, but I mean, we've seen some leaks and some images, but not as much as we've seen in the Neo 2, which we'll get to here in a little bit. But I mean, this is pretty significant here, guys.
Yeah. Hey, great price.
And
something's coming down. Definitely, something's coming down.
Well, for me, I did have a Pocket 3 and I liked it, but I found myself, I use the Action 5 a whole lot more than the Pocket 3. Pocket 3 is great, but for me, with the way I use a camera, and the Action cameras are better for me than the Pocket cameras. So I went ahead and I sold my Pocket 3. I just wasn't using it. But my action cameras, I'm using, and I'm excited because there's going to be an Action 6 coming out probably sometime shortly too.
And I still use my GoPro.
So, there you go.
Very rarely, but I use it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have the Action 2 still and love the Action 2. So
yeah, and DJI came out with the Nano, and that is a great camera. I've watched some reviews on that. Some people have really liked that. That's been very good, and it's a good price too. The Nano's at a good price, as far as that's concerned. One of the other things that I wanted to talk about here, we're going to get into there's several articles here on the Mini 5 Pro, and I wanted to share a couple of my experiences because I wanted to kind of piggyback last night on what you guys talked about on Drone Nation. I know Johnny was on there, and one of them was, I've done master shots and I've done focus track and I've done point of interest, and specifically with point of interest. And one of the things was people were saying that the getting some drifting there. And one of the things that early on I learned with point of interest is the smaller that you make that area that you're going to orbit around, the easier it is it's going to be for the drone to lock on that point. Okay. Because if you make an area like that big, okay, it can drift, okay. But if you just and understand something, and I think a lot of people kind of get confused with this, and I wanted to clear this up, is that's just the focal point. Okay. Your drone is going to be circling around the focal point. Okay. It's not, it's not the point. That's not what you're shooting. Okay. It's the whole area and the whole circumference of that area. So understand that. So making it bigger is not going to make that, make it as small as you possibly can. It's going to make a big difference in terms of the drift.
Good point.
That I've learned about the Mini 5 Pro as well too is that zoom, and I've done several tests on it, and on my latest video I did it again as well. Okay, it is crystal clear. The clarity on the not like the digital zoom. Okay, this is just, it's like jumps out at you. Like I did, you guys know I have a fountain in the community where
right.
And I love to have, that's a great focal point for something like that. And I zoomed in on that, and the clarity on that was just insane. It was just off the charts. It really was. I was extremely impressed with that. And the other thing is, this drone is much better in the wind than the Mini 4 Pro. I can't tell you that enough, because when I had it up on Sunday, we had 15 to 20 mile an hour winds. You could hear the zzz on the motors, but I'll tell you what, that thing was absolutely spot on. And then for the landing, it nailed the landing, precision landing. It was like 15, 20 mile an hour. You saw it going back and forth, but it landed square on that mat right in the middle. Those are just some observations that I wanted to share before I got into some of these articles here. But
yeah, I flew the Mini 5 today, and I actually tried that the focus on a backhoe that was digging, they're building a levee, and it actually worked so much better. Like you said, on that subject I was about, I don't know, maybe 130 feet high. And once I drew that little box, it did great. When I tried to do the University Center right behind here, of course, it takes up the whole screen. I guess it really probably didn't know what it was trying to shoot at,
That's a good example, Johnny. Thank you for sharing that. Several articles here that I want to share, and I'll let you read some of these at your leisure here. This one talks about 250-gram drone problem inside the last minute design changes that broke the weight limit, and it gets into here. There was an upgraded speaker that was added onto the Mini 5 drone pretty much at the last minute, and the upgraded speaker was not to broadcast where you're at, but it's the sound that DJI makes, the startup sound that you get all the time that you hear with DJI drones. That's what that speaker was there for. And why they added it, you can read the article. I just wanted to go ahead and make sure you guys knew exactly what was going on, because that was definitely the difference in terms of the weight. Because I know a lot of people, when it first came out, were like, oh man, it's like not at 250 grams, all that. But this is why that happened. Just so you guys, FYI. And I don't know if they're going forward, if they're going to stop that and change the production cycle. I don't know. I don't know what DJI is going to do with that. But that's the reason behind that, because a lot of people were speculating, it was the props, and that they went to clip-on props instead of screw-on props, and blah 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 and all this stuff. But this is it definitively, so you know what the answer is.
Okay? Yeah, that speaker will actually talk to you. It's not just the sound; it will actually speak. When you turn it, I think from internal to SD card, it'll actually talk and says internal memory use or whatever, vice versa. But yeah, it's not just a FPV drone can make a sound through the ESC and stuff. But so it definitely, and I think of course everybody's been weighing them. I guess mine was 252. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I know, and I was tempted to use my wife's scale as well too, because she has one of those gram scales, and I didn't. I'm just like, you know what? I'm going out there. I'm flying it. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm not going to worry about that.
Bill, somebody did make a comment. I will agree. Now I don't about the battery, the life on the extended battery. Now I only have an extended battery from the Mini 3 Pro, and it's really 5 to 7 minutes difference on flight time. So I'm not really sure. I don't have the true battery, extended battery for the Mini 5. So I'm not sure, but I know there was a lot of comments in the chats and stuff about the batteries. I mean, maybe just 5 to 7 minutes difference. So I don't really.
Is it worth it? I don't. I wouldn't.
I mean, for me, no. I ordered just a regular,
right.
But you know, I mean, it's definitely way off from the flight time that it says, which is not unusual. But I think this would be the biggest minute difference in what it says to what you actually are getting. So,
well, one of the things that and who's the I'm trying to remember the guy up in Alaska, Jake Sloan.
Jake.
Yeah, and he did a comparison between the Mini 4 Pro and the Mini 5 Pro, and where the biggest gain is, according to him, is the 2x crop, a game-changing feature. Here's where the Mini 5 Pro wins for the big 1-inch sensor, enables a 2x crop that gives you full 4K readout. This isn't a second camera or separate lens. It's just cropping on the sensor, but it effectively takes you from 24 millimeters to 48 millimeters focal length. Okay, this gives you some really cool results because you're getting into that telephoto feel when the background and foreground look a little closer together. Your subject looks a little more true to life in the environment when you pull the background and foreground together like that. This is a huge advantage and one of the main reasons why I'm getting a Mini 5 Pro. I love having those longer focal length options available, okay? We talked about slow motion here as well, photo quality, flight performance, where the Mini 5 Pro pulls ahead, and one of the things, and it talks about the wind, but one of the things too, remember, this has LiDAR on it, okay? And the Mini 4 Pro doesn't, and that's a huge difference. I mean, especially, for flying, if you're flying low light in areas where there's, probably some obstacles, it's going to make a difference.
It's a big benefit,
sure.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, right. And obstacle avoidance, significant improvements right here. Active track and dynamic home point. Again, battery life 7 to 10 minutes longer. Now, I ended up getting the version with the plus batteries, okay? Right. And I've had it out there a good 30 minutes or so, and it still seemed to probably could have gone another 10 more minutes, I would say, easily. So, but I also take into account, too, the times I've been flying the past few weekends, it's actually been like 15, 20 mile an hour winds. So, it's kind of compensating for the winds up there as well, too, because remember, the motors have to compensate for that and they work a little bit harder. And that's why I think the drone does better in the wind. I mean, you can really hear, it's really kicking up when the wind's picking that thing up. You can hear those motors. For sure. I mean, it's not quiet. It's not as quiet as I'd like it to be, but it does a great job.
Yeah. I would definitely say on normal circumstances, 150 feet up in the air and under, just normal, say traffic or something, nobody's gonna even hardly notice the drone.
Yeah, and then there's another article here.
Now, Drone Star says the zoom on a Mini 5 Pro isn't very impressive. I think it's damn good. That's just my personal opinion. So
yeah, when I was flying with Steve Jones down in Miami last week, he flew the Mini 5 Pro, and I thought it was fairly quiet. And like Johnny said, once it got up there, you couldn't even hear it anymore.
Oh yeah, when it gets up to height, you can't hear that. Absolutely. And I'm going to talk about the FCC coming up here in a minute. And because I do have some information on that. And here now, this is another article I want to share. There's 7 reasons the DJI Mini owns travel photography. Okay, there's a reason it's called Mini. It's easily transportable, mini size, massive sensor. It does have. We just talked about that. Stupid proof, not yet, but closer. Don't blindly trust obstacle avoidance system during automated flights. It's far from perfect and works much better when a human is actually behind the controls. In other words, if you're doing master shots or quick shots or things like that, always be aware of your surroundings. Always be aware you're the remote pilot in charge, okay? Yeah. If you're a Part 107 pilot, I'm preaching to the choir. You guys know this, okay? And I know Johnny and Ray know this too, is you trust these automated features to a point, okay? But you always keep an eye on things. You just don't
gotta be aware.
I'm gonna set the controller down and have a drink right now. No, you keep your eye on the controller, you keep your eye on the drone, you multitask while that's happening. Okay. The only time you take your eye off is after that thing has landed and after you powered it down, then you can take your eye off the drone. Okay. That's the only time you should do something like that. Okay. Weight and regulations here. And of course, we talked about that earlier coming in, that glorious HLG mode. Hybrid log gamma is a color profile designed for high dynamic range video. It offers way more dynamic range than the standard profile, capturing more detail in both bright highlights and dark shadows. The result, richer color and contrast straight out of the camera. No more cranking the saturation slider to oblivion, okay? Handles the wind, maybe a little rain. It does handle the wind real well. Batteries last forever almost and charge fast. They do charge fast. And I'm going to tell you this. I had it on, it charges 2 of the batteries at one time sequentially on there. And after I got it, when I did my initial charge of that, and the controller was about 90 minutes for all 3 batteries in the controller, which I was very impressed. Okay.
Yeah, it does.
They were ready to go. Now, one of the things I did go ahead and I purchased an extra battery from a seller over. Believe it or not, I bought a lot of my accessories from China. There's no tariffs from buying things in China. Go figure that one out. Okay. On eBay. But I did buy a battery, an extra battery for this as well. I bought an extra battery hub, and I have the DJI 65-watt charging adapter from previous drone purchases that I use to charge that. So that's working out well, and that's one of the things that I recommend you guys doing. And I'm going to be putting out a video regarding accessories and what I recommend that you guys purchase before all this comes down here. So, and I think I have one more here. Okay, here. There's some things have been said now, and hey, Kesselou put out an article that the DJI Mini 5 Pro is actually available on Amazon, and there are some places that have that. But as I say that, check out these third-party sellers, guys. Don't blindly trust it because it's Amazon. It's on Amazon. Don't blindly trust it. Go in there, check their feedback out. Okay, and that's the same, especially, and you guys know that. I put my Mavic 4 Pro unboxing video and I had a commentary, and one of the things was you need to vet these eBay sellers, and you also need to vet these Amazon third-party sellers as well too.
Bill, I got a Barkley ordered the Mini 5 Pro from Amazon the other night when it was at a decent price, better than than some of the USA sellers been. But he actually got a cancellation notice that it was out of stock from the Amazon seller, so he went ahead and ordered it through eBay at a really a lot better price. So yeah, so you got to watch Amazon. So
yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, that's. And again, all these articles, they're out on Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group. So you guys can go ahead and feel free to catch that. Now, I want to go ahead.
Has a comment too about tariffs from Japan now. Okay. $200.
Yeah. There are some tariffs in Japan. And that's one of the things you need to do is by vetting some of these. Okay. Some of them will on individual listings eat the tariff. In other words, there's no tariff if it's you buy it in the United States. Other ones, if it doesn't say it, they're not going to eat it. So you would expect to pay that. So that's just a word of caution and a word of warning if you guys get into this. All right. I want to make you guys very well aware of this. Okay. Now, the one thing that I want to get into here, and I can't pull up the whole article because I don't subscribe to The Verge, but I'll read to you what I can. And now this is from the FCC, and this was today. This didn't happen today on October 28th. This morning, the Federal Communications Commission voted 3-0 to let itself retroactively ban gadgets and radio components that are previously approved for entry into the United States if the company that makes them is deemed a national security risk. Officially, it's a way to close loopholes and protect U.S. networks from backdoors in Chinese telecom gear. But it could also give the Trump administration a new way to block Chinese consumer electronics that run on open airwaves, starting with those from drone maker DJI, even though the U.S. government hasn't publicly released evidence that they pose a threat. Okay. And the article, and from what I could tell, it elaborates a little bit more on this. Okay. But there's one thing that I want to, I want to make sure and I want to make clear to all of you guys out there. And this is from Bill, the ham radio reviewer here. Okay. You can't shut down part of that spectrum. Okay. You can't shut down those bands. Okay. Because number one, that's Wi-Fi. Okay. That basically what we're using Wi-Fi protocols, which I don't really, I don't understand that because that's in a separate language that I don't speak and I don't understand it. But I do know enough that they can't shut those parts of the band down because you'd be shutting Wi-Fi down, and you can't do that. Okay. So you can't do that. So your drone and your controller are going to communicate. All right. Number one. All right. And number two, okay, this is going to be open. And this is one of the things that I wanted to say to everybody. Okay. This kind of stuff is going to be open to lawsuits. All right. First of all, I think DJI is going to come back at them. They're not going to sit on their hands and take this without a fight. Okay. They're going to fight on this. I can tell you that right now. And all these people, first responder organizations and others who livelihoods are depend upon DJI drones. Okay. They're not going to take this lightly either. Okay. And I'm sure some good law firms are going to come up with some ways to attack this, all these rulings, specifically this one, to be able, you've approved it, and now, okay, because they're a national security risk, you're going to take it back. And, what's a national security risk? What have you deemed as a national security risk? And, by the way, have you ever told us or shown us what is the national security risk with DJI? And nobody's answered. Okay.
And they won't, yeah.
And I've emailed and I've messaged Senator Rick Scott ad nauseum. No replies, of course, on this as well.
Now, I wrote to him also. No reply to me, Bill.
Now, and those of you who follow me on my ham radio channel, and I did post this article out here, and it's a blog actually, and it's by Julian. He's an American expatriate that lives over in Finland. Okay. The guy is phenomenal. Okay. And a lot of people call him a prepper. He's not really a prepper. Okay. He is prepared for disasters. He's prepared to run his equipment without, standard household current electricity. He can run it off of solar. He can run it off of batteries that he has charged. Okay. And one of the things that he uses, which really surprised me, was he used DJI drones. One of the things that he does is he attaches a thin wire on one of his DJI drones, takes it up a couple hundred feet in the air, and guess what you have? You have a ham radio antenna, guys. And you're perfectly legal to do that. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Now, he also uses DJI drones to scout out the area. Like, he actually goes out in a bivouac and he camps out there. He walks the walk and he talks the talk. The guy's the greatest at this. Absolutely fantastic. And he wrote an article about this. And one of the things of that article, and it is in Bill the Drone Reviewer Facebook group, so you guys are welcome to go ahead and find that article. But one of the things in the blog post that he talks about is that a drone startup is happening in Tampa, Florida right now. Okay. And this is something that the federal government, nobody's telling you about this at all. All right. And through a Where's Waldo kind of a way, apparently Senator Rick Scott has some investments in this as well too. So, like we have said, and we've always been saying here, there's more than meets the eye on this stuff.
Much as I hate to say it, I invested in one of those companies in Florida. Yeah. It's gonna happen. You're gonna see more and more American drone companies starting up. You watch what happens. Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Johnny.
No, they're going to be some, but you know what? They're all going to be geared toward enterprise type drones, and I always said, hey, I would definitely be part of a $500 drone that they're going to sell to the government for $10,000. But that's not beating. It's not a better drone, and hey, it's crazy.
I do hope that one of them comes out with a consumer type drone. Oh, I don't
see it at all.
Yeah,
but
and I agree with Johnny.
They are geared towards enterprise and military contracts.
Yeah.
And,
like I said,
and the reason they do that, Ray, is that's where the money's to be made.
Well, yeah.
We'll go back to, I'll go back to Parrot a few years ago, okay? And everybody was all, hyped up about the Inopi, and it was a great drone, all right? But they stopped cold, and they did a hard look at the numbers, and they decided, you know what, we're shutting down consumer drones and we're going full speed with enterprise drones. And that's what their direction, and they're making money hand over fist. Okay.
Yeah.
All these companies that cater to, to like military and to the government, as far as drones are concerned, they're doing fantastic. They're doing absolutely fantastic with that. Well, everybody's talking about Skydio, and I don't want to beat Skydio over with a stick too much, but okay, they have been building enterprise level drones for the government. All right, and they've been promoting their drones to the government as well. But what was real interesting was, I know a year or two ago, was they were having a hard time getting batteries, and it ends up their batteries and a lot of their components come over from mainland China. Okay. So, it's like, okay, we're DJI is the bad guy here, but Skydio's using components from China, but, that's okay. We don't have a problem with that. I just, where are we at here? What's going on with all this? I don't know.
Last year at the South Florida Drone Meetup, the Margate Police Department was there, and they had a Skydio enterprise drone that they are using now, and it was very, very expensive. And there's also a service contract that goes along with that drone.
Yeah.
That you have to buy that service contract from Skydio. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things too that I wanted to bring up is, I think, and if I'm not mistaken from what I've read, and again, we don't talk about politics here, but Z from China, okay, XI, that's his last name, is supposedly going to be meeting up with Trump here, and I think it's going to be in Korea or something or other. They have some kind of economic conference coming up. So, maybe something can be hammered out with this as far as that's concerned. Maybe Trump tells him, and this is something I've been preaching all along, and we got kind of an inside view when we had Rick Smith on the show, was, one of the questions has always been, is why hasn't DJI decided to build a facility here in the United States, employ American workers and so forth? And Rick Smith was saying, from his contacts at DJI, they said, well, it's going to cost too much money. And he replied right back to them, it's going to cost you more money not to do something like that, okay? Because of how much the the drone market here in the United States, because DJI doesn't publish their numbers, but understand something, okay? It's a significant portion of DJI's income comes from the United States. I'm not talking Canada or Mexico. I'm talking the United States here, okay? And
I totally agree with that too. I really feel that DJI should invest in the U.S. I do. I've been saying that all along, and again, it may cost a lot of money, but the investment would be worth its worthwhile. That's for sure for DJI.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And one of the things here is, all right, is I know last night, because I watched Drone Nation, it was a great show last night, and Johnny was on there. And one of the things they talked about was, are you going to give up your Mini 5 Pro if they deemed that,
No.
It was retroactive and it's illegal? Okay. That's ludicrous. Okay. Is the FAA going to come and arrest you for going out and flying your Mini 5 Pro over your softball field? I mean, seriously, what's going to happen there? All right. They can't do that. And like I said, they can't shut down the spectrum, as far as the airwaves are concerned. And, this is going to open itself up. Like I said, after I read about the FCC vote, this is going to open itself up to lawsuits here, because, if you're going to be doing things retroactively, you can say everything from China is illegal right now if you wanted to do that.
Well, Bill, what scares me, what's next? Ray, you're a police officer, former police officer. What is probably 90?
I know. Cell phones, are they next? What's next, really?
Like Ray, what is 95% of every police officer wearing on their side? It's a Glock. It's not made in America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, so what's next? It's and I don't think that just because you're the number one producer of drones, you have to build something in America. That's just my personal opinion. Apple is an American company. It uses components from China, but it is, I guess, an American company. But yeah, I mean, DJI is getting it's crazy that the USA is the only country in the world where you can't get a DJI drone. It doesn't make sense.
and that's a great point, Johnny. Okay, because everywhere else around the world, else has deemed China or DJI a national security risk from China?
Nobody.
Okay? Who else? Nobody. There's no other country on this earth that has done that. Okay, that should be the biggest red flag of all. You should say, you know what? There's something rotten here. Okay.
Yep.
There's something really rotten with all that. I mean, like my dad used to say, it's day-old fish left on the counter overnight. All right, which ain't going to smell too good by the time the morning comes around. All right, and this is what you have here. All right, this is just, it doesn't add up. It's just, it reeks of just favoritism and nepotism and, getting another company started and all this kind of stuff. I mean,
it's all about the money. It's all about money. That's all.
You just hit it right on the head, Johnny. That's what it's all about.
I mean,
money.
About money.
It really is. And that's a good point, Michael. Insurance will probably not cover these retroactive FAA approvals should an accident occur. That's a really good point. And I'm still actually, okay, I applied to my State Farm insurance agent with all my, I bought the Mini 5 Pro and the Mavic 4 Pro.
Right.
And I sent them all the paperwork that I have from that, the picture of the serial numbers and everything. It's been in underwriting for 2 weeks. They don't have an answer back yet. So I'm crossing my fingers on that, because if that doesn't fly, I did purchase the AllState protection plan on both of those drones. So I do have some coverage for a couple of years on them. Okay. So, I'm not totally going out there blind, but, I really want to get that State Farm handled. Obviously, I want to have something in gear. And one of the other things that I'm going to tell everybody right now is probably this weekend, I'm going to come out with a video on accessories. Okay. And these are accessories that you need to buy. And one of the things that I can emphasize is this. All right. Don't worry about things that aren't made by DJI specifically. Okay. Like if you're worried about getting a case for your drone, or you're worried about getting prop guards for your drone, some of these, or landing gears or things like that, or little attachments, don't worry about those right now. Put those to the side for now. Okay. You want to focus on batteries right now. You want to focus. Here's what I've done so far. Okay. I purchased an extra battery for the Mini 5 Pro. I purchased an extra charging hub for the Mini 5 Pro. I purchased extra props for the Mini 5 Pro. For the Mavic 4 Pro, I purchased an extra battery. I got that. I purchased an extra charging hub. I also purchased an extra 240 watt adapter with a US plug, because the one I got didn't have a US plug, but they gave me an adapter anyway. I'm preparing for things. Okay. I also purchased more props for the Mavic 4 Pro as well too. These are the kind of things that you want to focus on being able to get, because once December 23rd hits, we don't know if we can be able to purchase these off of eBay sellers. So the time is now to go ahead and do this. If you have those drones and are going to invest in that, you want to go ahead and do that. Also, as well too, let's say you have an Air 3S. Go ahead out there, get a couple more batteries for that, get some more props for that. Be prepared, all right? Because when December 23rd hits, we don't know what's going to happen right now. We really don't, because there's been no action in terms of an audit from any of the alphabets from the CIA, and none of them have done anything regarding that. So I think they're just gonna wash their hands of this, and then it's gonna happen, and it's gonna be law. So,
yeah.
Good point, Bill. Good point. Yeah, and batteries are so important. You need your batteries, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I bought a couple myself. Yeah.
And one of the things with batteries, and I'm going to talk about this in the video, and this is something that I've been doing right now with each flight. I'm using a different battery each flight. All right, and that's something you guys should start doing as well too, because you wrote exactly right. Yeah. Rotate these batteries in and out. If you can, and what I do is I put a small magic marker on them so I know which is which. All right, because they're all the same as far as that's concerned. Or if you want to get a label maker out and put a label on them, there you go, Johnny. Have the label exactly. Okay, label them. Okay, put the label. If you want to put your ID on them, it'll fit. Do that. Okay, or put number 1, number 2, number 3 on there, because that is going to help as well too. Now, one of the other crazy things that I'm considering as well, and I've talked to Ron about this, and this is actually you can still purchase Air 3Ss out on DJI's website from the United States. All right. And one of the things, I actually have about $300 in DJI credit or cash sitting out there from all my purchases. One of the things that I'm thinking about doing, as crazy as this sounds, and listen to this, okay? I have a perfectly functioning Air 3S right down there. I'm actually thinking about buying another Air 3S and using my credits, okay? And that, because right now, the drone and the basic controller, the N3 controller, are about $700. If I use my DJI credits, I'd only be paying $400 for another Air 3S, okay?
Do it, Bill.
And understand,
yeah, you should do it. Yeah.
Understand that Air 3S also works with the RC Pro too, okay? So, that's a win-win as far as I'm concerned. Because, we don't know what's going to happen with this storm, okay? And you know how they'll tell you for hurricane prep, and Captain Ray knows about this too, and Johnny does too, you should have X number of days supply of water and food on hand to be prepared. So first responders, they've said anywhere from 11 to 15 days a supply of water and rations, until maybe, the National Guard or somebody can come, first responders can come to you, and water. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Have that on hand, have that ready. This is the same kind of instance with this here, guys. Okay. Because we don't know how long the storm's going to last. You need to get out there and get prepared. And like I said, I'm going to do a full-on video about this because I think it's so important. You guys need to do this, and don't wait. Okay. This is one thing I have to emphasize, and I can't emphasize enough. Don't wait. Do it now. And when you're going out there on eBay, all right, vet these sellers, because I looked on one seller today that I actually used, and I actually got an OEM product back. But some of the instances have stated some of them have been opened, some of them have been apparently used. So go through the feedback on these, especially on the items that you're going to purchase from these eBay sellers out there. This is what I mean by vetting them, okay? Because I dropped the links. The links are in the video for the sellers that I use for the Mavic 4 Pro and the Mini 5 Pro. But you need to still vet them as well, too, to make sure they're going to fit exactly what you want. Because, they may change and they may not be paying tariffs on those right now. So you need to go out there and do that.
Bill, you see Michael Wright's comment there? He's all set. He's got plenty. Yeah. Very good, Michael.
You are ready, Michael.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That is exactly the way to go. Exactly the way to go. Oh, okay, Carlos. I didn't know that. Okay. Because they were.
Yeah. You can't buy anything off the DJI site. So
yeah. So
yeah. Just tell them to send you $300 cash.
Yeah. I've been waiting for that.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I really lamented the fact, and I don't know if you guys remember or not, DJI used to have a program where, they would, for every, you would use a URL from them, right, and you would get actually make money on selling drones, dropping those links. Okay. And I made enough 1 year. Okay. I ended up, because you couldn't convert them to cash at that point. So I ended up buying, and this was way back, I ended up buying a Mavic 2 Pro. Oh, wow. All right. Full on trader kit. And I sold it on eBay, and I got cash for it. I mean, that's how I did that. That was wonderful.
One way to do it.
Then they stopped at cold turkey. Yeah. So yeah, I this is where we're headed here. And it's going to be a great idea to be prepared and to be mindful of this, because going forward, like I said, December 23rd, if nothing's going to be done, it's going to be law. All right. And we don't know if it's going to be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the road. We have no idea how long this is going to last. And all of this is going to last here. All right. And I know, for example, I know my email that I sent and other emails that I've sent, have said DJI drones have saved lives. They're used by first responders. Okay. They're also used in times of disaster here in Florida. Okay. I know they had matrices going up, inspecting these towers for Florida Power and Light, for Tampa Electric, when we have a hurricane hit, so they can go ahead and get repair crews out there. They're out there looking at traffic flow and other things. They're out there looking to see where people are through infrared, that may be lost. Dozens and dozens of uses for these drones are just going by the wayside. and it's going to cost thousands of people their jobs. Some drone businesses are going to close because of this. You know, none of that none of that is on their agenda. None of that is on their agenda.
No. Well, they say, hey, you know, it's all about safety and security, but it's about cash and money and politics and it, you know, it's just the way it is. And you know, if we did, you know, a couple of years ago we said this was coming, we'd probably say no. And I mean, I'd probably be one of the first ones to agree that you know, it wasn't going to happen. But hey, it's happening, and we're right in the middle of it now, almost at the I say the end of it. The date is coming, and it looks like it's going to happen.
I was trying to stay positive.
Well, you know,
I lost hope halfway through this. I lost hope. I really did. You know.
Well, we're going to kind of switch gears here a little bit and talk about something a little bit more positive here, because this Thursday it looks like the Neo 2 is going to come out.
Yeah,
and I wanted to kind of I did this on purpose because I wanted to end on a positive note here. Okay. Mm-hmm. You can see the DJI had the teaser here. 8 p.m. Beijing time, which translates to 8 o'clock our time on the 30th here. DJI has officially teased the Neo 2 drone with an October 30th launch date in China, yet global availability remains uncertain. Meanwhile, the current Neo is seeing steep discounts in the U.S. What we know so far about the Neo 2, you'll love the specs for now. Here's just a little bit of info for you. Gesture and voice controls, new omnidirectional sensors, a 2-axis gimbal, 19 minutes in the air, auto return home, direct charging, and we have to have something for them as far as that's concerned. And there were some pictures of that as well. Here's a close-up picture right here as far as the motors are concerned and the gimbal cover. A lot of that kind of looks on the familiar side. The U.S. NAG FCC filing doesn't mean green light. Back July 2025, our own coverage pointed out the Neo 2 had shown up in the U.S. FCC database. Okay, so it has been approved. I know somebody had already asked that question here. Lightweight at 135 grams, making it exempt from U.S. FAA registration. 4K 30 frames per second, 12 megapixel photos, built-in storage, 22 gigabytes, plus voice and gesture control. Palm launch, handing support, app or optional controller-based flight, and closed prop guards, excellent for beginners or casual flyers. With discounts rolling out, the value equation is strong. You get DJI branding, capable hardware, and a low entry point. Okay, some Neo bundles you can look for now, and these are on the current Neo that's out there. Okay, should you wait for the Neo 2 or buy now? Here's a simple decision guide. Buy now if you want to fly soon, are budget conscious, are a beginner, new user, or appreciate value over bleeding edge specs. Consider waiting if you want the latest tech, aren't in a rush, and understand there's no guarantee of U.S. availability. A hybrid approach. Grab the original Neo now at a discount, and if Neo 2 arrives in the U.S., consider an upgrade later. Your first drone investment won't be wasted, okay? And there's another article here on the Neo that I want to share, and then we'll talk about this here in a minute. This one was actually out on Drone XL. Okay, DJI Neo 2 just leaked. First images, features, prices, and release date. All right. As far as you can see, again, these are some pictures right here. And that's the teaser that DJI came out with. New and improved camera, 2-axis with possible same sensor as the Mini 5. Not only AI tracking, but added infrared LiDAR sensors to improve safety and tracking. Improved propellers that have a more silent prop design, because I know people complained about the noise on that. Upgraded battery, 15% more, 19 minutes of flight time. Upwards, backwards camera for safer flight and smart returns. Added transceiver for wider application and uses on different connections. Compatibility of the Neo 2. Seems to be compatible with goggles and 3 that came with the previous motion fly controller. On that topic, the funny new Neo 2 transceiver on the back of this drone allegedly created the necessarily OcuSync connection, so you can use it with existing DJI remotes. Okay, all right, which is that's some good news there. Neo 2 price increase. Now these are just these are the accessories. These aren't the actual Neo itself. Neo 2 flight battery was 129. Two-way charging hub 79. Props were 39. Prop guard 49. Digital transceiver 59. care refresh, and that doesn't matter for us. And Neo 2 standalone combo, Neo 2 fly more combo, Neo 2 motion combo. That's kind of left to be designed. So guys, what do you think of this? I mean, does this sound something like you want to go ahead and get?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great little drone. I think the big difference on this and the Neo, the original Neo, that most people, and of course, I'd say we got almost 70 people in here. A lot of people have the goggles already. They already have the motion control type or the RC2. I think it'll be a great seller. This is a drone just to fly for fun. I mean, don't sit and worry about the video too much and all. It's going to be a lot better than the Neo original. But hey, if you want some great, use your Vata 2 if you want. But just is going to be a fun drone. Now I think 129 for a battery for that is kind of steep to me. But I guess that's where we're headed. Because you can get a Neo right now at Amazon for 159. So hey, if a battery's going to cost you 129, but I guess
drone angles. If you want to post the link in the chat, I know you have a wrench, so you can do that. Because you said I just bought a couple of batteries from AliExpress, Mavic 4 Pro, 199, and Air 3S 131. If you drop a link in the chat, that would be super. Because I know a lot of people are interested in that. Because I know I paid $300 for my Mavic 4 Pro battery. Okay. I did get express shipping on that from South Korea without any tariffs on that. But if you could post that link, that would be great.
Yeah, AliExpress. Hey, every FPV drone I've pretty well built or whatever. Every part has come from pretty well AliExpress. So
I think it's going to be a great drone. I really do. This new drone. I know one thing. I'm not going to wait a year like I did with the Neo to get one. I'm going to get one right away. Yeah.
And it's going to be a fun little drone to fly, and I'm looking forward to that. I mean, it's the kind of drone that I envision being able to fly inside the house. Although, if you guys know anything about my history, okay, Valerie has told me you can fly your drones as much as you want, but outside the house. Because I had the original Mavic Pro. It took a nice little chunk out of the wall of our firmware.
Okay.
So I've been banished. I've been banished from flying the drone indoors kingdom from my beautiful wife. So that's not going to happen again. All right.
Now, did you have that on video, Bill? Did you have that on video? I would love.
Part of it actually did. Right. Actually, part of it did get on video, which was interesting. Okay. Which I've kept and I've archived it and I have that there. So I told Valerie, I said, if you want to, you could pay me for that clip as leverage sometime if you might want to have that. But no, this is the kind of drone you could fly indoors. Okay. That's, with the prop guards and everything the way it is. Because I actually flew, listen to this. I had a Spark. I took off from the front porch. I flew through the house to the back door, the sliding glass door, flew outside, turned it around, came back in through the house. Now, the big problem was with that, because it was a bigger type of drone, there were papers on the dining room table, and they went everywhere. I mean, everywhere. But other than that, I mean, it did good. I took it nice and slow, and it did fine. And Valerie actually approved me doing that. But that was about 5 or 6 years ago when I did something like that. So, but no, this is the kind of ideal. This drone is actually ideal for something like that. And it's ideal for younger people as well, too. Especially those that are first learning how to fly a drone. This is perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah, great. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And like I said, a lot of people have most of the accessories already that will go with this drone. So that's going to even make it a bigger seller. Now, Bill, I guess we have to wait a couple weeks to get it off eBay, probably.
Probably, yeah, because I know Zach, he went out there looking, and it's not out there yet, because I know the Mini 5 Pro was actually out there the night before.
Yeah, I ordered it the day before, I think it was. Yeah,
and I would say, and Zach, it might be out there tomorrow night, like on Wednesday night, because it's getting released on Thursday morning here. Yeah. So there's some sellers may actually have that out there, but I would wait until there's a proliferation of listings out there because of pricing. Okay, because the more listings that are out there, these guys will barter back and forth. Now, you may have to pay for shipping, but you might get a lower price. So, there's some trade-offs with that. And of course,
and check it regularly. I mean, it changes. Look, you might see the same seller with 3 different prices. It's not, my seller, my Mini 5 was $1,100 even, but he had like probably 5 other listings that were $1,170. Now, I mean, did he pay $70 more for the drone or what? I don't know, but it's kind of crazy. But just keep checking those prices.
Yeah, absolutely. And Casey Cronfried brings up a good point here too. That's really good. Exactly. You don't have to worry about putting down a controller as far as that's concerned. That's a great point, and that does come in well for you. So
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and that's great, Ray. That's great. 3 Neos donated for that. So
thanks to John Gregory, Jeremy Alms, and Brad Berger. Yep.
Absolutely. That's absolutely fantastic with that. So Ray, it's good that you're on because we're coming up, it's going to be here before at the next South Florida drone meetup. How we doing numbers wise?
Yeah, we're doing good. Actually, this is the most amount of people that we've had signed up this early. And we got 110. Tanya Gale committed that she's coming back next year. And I was glad to hear that last night. The block of hotel rooms is sold out, but John, the manager, has been gracious enough to keep adding rooms. So if you're coming, it's going to stop. So if you're coming, call the Hampton Inn and Suites in Stewart North and book your room.
Man, we're going to have the whole hotel booked.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much.
And as you know, it's a great rate. We get that great rate of $139 for a room, $149 for a suite. And they've been holding that same rate for 5 years now. Really,
that's fantastic, Ray. That's great that you have such a great relationship with them. That's
Ray. Ray, is Kenny Hallbauer coming? He said he's coming.
He better be there.
Oh, well, cancel me then. I'm not going to cancel.
Yeah, but
that's great. That is great news. That is absolutely fantastic.
It's going to be great. It's going to be another great event, no doubt about it.
And I got to tell you,
I guarantee the winds will be calm this year.
Yeah, because I know there have been some times. I think the very first one was really rough. From what I didn't go to
if they're not calm, I'm blaming it on Johnny.
Ray, you got a question right there. Bare Necessities says, "How do you sign up for the South Florida Drone Meetup?"
Yeah, just tell us you're coming, and I'll add you to the list. But please, it's got to be a definite. Let me know. If it's a definite, I'll add you to the list right now.
There's a South Florida Drone Meetup Facebook group out there, so you do want to go ahead and find that
6th annual South Florida Drone Meetup, and we encourage you to post different photos and videos on there. But it's a great time, no doubt about it. You get to meet all these drone celebrities, I call them, from all over the country, all over the world, really, because we got people coming from England again. Steve Gardner's coming back with his lovely wife Haley, and he's bringing his friend too. So,
right.
And hopefully we'll get some of those Canadians back too.
Yeah, that would be fun. Get Lauren back again. That'd be nice. But yeah, and the thing is, and I want to emphasize this with everybody because I know everybody's going to want to bring their drones. Okay. And this is something from having gone a couple of times. This is one of the things that I highly recommend and highly suggest. Okay. The day of the meetup. Okay. Keep your drone in your car or in your hotel room, because you know what the idea is, especially for me. Okay. Like Sunday morning when you go out and enjoy flying like on Sunday morning. Okay. Because I know you guys have gone to like a nice beach area, wide open spaces, very easy to fly, great views of the ocean and everything. All right. The whole idea of the meetup for me and Valerie as well too, it's being able to rub shoulders with everybody. It's being able to talk to people because you know what? And I've told you this, Ray, and Johnny knows this as well too. 364 other days a year, I can fly my drone. Okay. But you know what? I can't sit here and rub shoulders with all of you fantastic people out there that support us in the drone community. Okay. You'll
find that you just don't have enough time to mingle and talk to everybody. At least that's what happens with me,
Exactly.
I wish I spent more time with so-and-so. I should have talked to him more. I should have took some selfies with this guy and that guy. Just not enough time sometimes.
And you want to make sure also too, from previous experiences, you want to make sure to go to the meet and greet on Friday night at the bowling alley, okay? Because I'll tell you what, that is just a total blast. It is just so much fun, okay? And almost everybody goes to it, all right? And
yes, we got to give Bill Ronayne a lot of credit for that. He's the manager of Sticks Billiard Club, and he makes the arrangements for the sponsorship, where we end up giving away two $50 gift cards, and he puts out a nice food spread for us. Really lets us use 4 of the billiard tables, and we have a good time at the meet and greet. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Definitely that's something you want to get there early and get part of that experience, because it's so nice. And like I said, it's like I get a lot. I have a big high school reunion next year. I have my 50th high school reunion next year.
That's a big one
in October, which Valerie went to my last one, the 40th. And we had such a great time. I've already saved the date. As soon as airline tickets are available, I'm going to fly up so I can get reservations to fly up there and get hotel booked for that as well too. But the thing is, it's being able to talk and socialize and enjoy each other. Okay, where we do it here on chat, we do it, have you guys on the show occasionally, that kind of thing. But the great thing is being able to sit there face to face and enjoying you guys, okay? Because you know what? You are the backbone of this community, okay? You are the heart and soul of this community, okay? What we do on our shows and everything is for all of you guys, all right?
You make friends in the chat. I've done that. When I first started, I made such good friends just in the chat alone.
Yep.
But when you go to these meetups, the first one I went to was Spin Up, and you meet the people. It's amazing. It's a whole different experience, and it's the same way at the South Florida Drone Meetup. We welcome new pilots as well as the experienced pilots, really. And don't be intimidated. Come, you're more than welcome, really.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's something I wanted to make sure to get this in, and get a pitch for this.
April 10th to the 13th.
The 10th to the 13th. Now the Vegas drone meetup coming up next month here, and next month is right around the corner here in November. So if Bob Dempsey or Tom Dowling, get with them and they can get you all the information that you need regarding that. They sound like they have things planned out really well, and that will be a great time as well. If you can afford to do that, look into that and do so. I highly encourage you. I know Bob and Tom are very dedicated and diligent with that, and they do a fantastic job as well with that too. So definitely look that up if you're interested. Get with Bob, get with Tom, and they can get you all the information that you need regarding that. Johnny and Ray, you got any final thoughts here before we wrap things up?
No, just thanks for having me on. I enjoyed. Hey, Captain Joe and I flew today, and had always great time of year. You got a little, not so much color changing here, but the weather's great. Hey, get out there and fly, and take a break from all the drone ban and the FCC and the politicians, and hey, just get out there and enjoy your drone. That's what it's all about.
Exactly. And again, Bill, thank you for the invite to be on. I appreciate it. It's good to see everybody in the chat. And I went out with John Olson this morning, and we tried to fly, but it was way too windy.
Oh, wow.
And I sent my Mavic 3 up, and even that at 100 feet was getting strong wind warnings. And I know it could have handled it, but I don't enjoy flying around worrying about my drone. So I landed it, and him and I went to breakfast instead. So
yeah, there you go.
Had a great time.
Absolutely. And we're glad you're doing better, Ray. We know you recently had surgery. Glad you're on the mend. Our thoughts and prayers are with
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Speedy recovery as far as that's concerned. And, you guys are the best. And it's always great. Johnny and Ray, watch their shows, watch all our channels, watch Drone Nation, watch Rotor Talk, watch Johnny's show, watch Ray's show. These guys do, and the other ones, Bill Thomas, watch his show, Coast to Coast Drones. Everybody, we're heart and soul about this. And I think Johnny mentioned it, don't worry about all the other stuff that's going on right now.
Yeah, just have fun.
I've told my wife, and this is the first thing I'll tell her when I come back in Sunday from flying. How was it? I said, I got to fly, and I had a smile on my face. Okay? So I'll tell you what, and Bill Thomas was so appropriate when he calls it his show Drone Therapy, because that's exactly what this is. Go out there, you fly a drone, you don't have problems. Okay,
escape.
your problems are gone. They're just they're not there anymore, and it's so refreshing to do that. It's just it's exhilarating. I get, you know, I just, you know, a shot of adrenaline or whatever after doing that.
Yeah, I mean, hey, one battery would just make the whole day. That if you had a bad day, that one battery would just make it go so that much better, you know.
Exactly. And guys, you know, that is the best thing I think that the three of us can tell you guys is just go out there and fly and enjoy it and have some fun. Okay. Because I know when I retire, one of the things I'm going to be doing on a daily basis, I'm going to go out there and fly my drone for fun. Okay. And not, you know, because I do pretty big setups when I do my videos for the channel. Okay. And I'm probably going to put a lot of these videos out there. It's not going to be any narration. There'll probably be some music out there with it, but just some of the cityscapes and just some nice things that I'm going to go out and enjoy every day. So,
well, let me tell you, Bill, you're going to love retirement. Mark my word, you're going to love it.
I'm on pins and needles about it, Ray. Yeah. Everybody, thanks so much for watching. As always, guys, it's a great day to fly. Take care. Have a great rest.
Have a good night. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.